So welcome back, Elaine, to the Zoom room for another Art of Letting Go session. To make this a relatively short one, just we're going to do the lesson, the inspirational quote, and then we'll go into the teaching around that, and we'll do the lesson and a meditation on the lesson. So let me just share my screen with you. And yeah, so if you can read that quote for us to kick it off,
yeah,
please.
It's your unlimited power to care and to love that can make the biggest difference in the quality of your life.
Yeah, Tony Robbins is known, one of the best known motivational speakers in the world. Gives us the same message that Yeshua repeats over and over in Course in Miracles. You receive as you give, so give love to others and you must experience it yourself. Now, that's one of the fundamental principles on which the Course is based. As you give, you receive. And he repeats that lesson in pretty much every lesson and every section of the text. If you notice, he always brings in your brothers, and he says, you know, this is how it all works. As you see your brothers, so you see yourself, and as you love others, so you love yourself. And he just repeats it over and over in many different ways to get it to penetrate into our minds and break down the idea that we are actually separate from our companions. So it is this love that is the source of what he refers to as quality of life. This force of love is what makes life worthwhile. You could interpret what he's saying, quality of life, that phrase, in a materialistic way, which is common in today's society. Quality of life means, well, I have plenty of money, I have a nice house, a car, holidays, and so on. But its true meaning is the quality of your experience of life, moment by moment. You know, what is the quality of your daily experience? You know, your encounters with other people, your relationships with other people, your conversations, your social encounters, your business meetings. What's the quality of your life ongoing? Is your daily life filled with, loving, what Yeshua calls holy encounters, and you flow with all these encounters and experiences in a state of peaceful, loving awareness? Or do you frequently find yourself in conflict with or resisting others and your environment? That's the question to ask. If there's a lot of conflict and there's a lot of resistance and you're out of flow, then you don't have a great quality of life, do you? Because your moment by moment experience of life is not particularly happy or peaceful one. So quality of life equals peace and happiness and flow moment by moment by moment. So some people who are actually quite poor, some of these poor countries, that they're in the flow, they enjoy their life, they have gratitude, they have a better quality of life than someone with materially a lot more, but who's miserable.
Yeah.
And you do see that. You go to some of these very poor countries, and actually people are remarkably
laughing
happy
and smiling. Yeah.
Yeah, they lead a very simple life. I think you have to be above starving. They're not starving, but they don't have much material means. But let's say they've got enough food, and they've got some kind of shelter, some clothes. So some of the basic needs are covered. Once you get to that level, money makes a very little difference to quality of life. I think they've done surveys, and I recall the survey was like, well, over $8,000 a year. It isn't that much. More than $8,000 a year doesn't really make much difference to people's quality of life. once the basic needs are met, it comes down to what's your state of mind, what's your perception of your life. So someone who's got very little living in, let's say, India, but is connected. They live in a family environment. They're very connected to family. They've got a rich family life, social network. They feel connected to their community. Maybe they've got a religious practice. They're Hindu or something, and they worshiping a god, or they probably will have a better quality of life than some Westerner who's got much more money but is very materialistic and just working to make more money, to buy more stuff, waiting for their next holiday, but not really enjoying very much the daily life. So quality of life goes way beyond material needs and acquiring stuff, or achieving certain goals. You're playing what another American motivational speaker, a guy called Simon Sinek, calls a finite game. It will always disappoint you, even if you achieve your limited objective. So finite games are one where there's a finite outcome. My outcome is this. This is what I'm going for. So that's traditional goal setting. Say, right, I want to achieve this, and I'm going to set my mind to it. I'm going to do what it takes to achieve my goal. It's a finite game. Whereas an infinite game is not played with a finite objective. The infinite game has no end. It's by nature, it's eternal, it's infinite. You can't really win at life, can you? How can you say, well, I won my life? You can't. It's a ridiculous idea. You can't win your life. You live your life. It's ongoing. You can't win at relationships, achieve a certain objective. It's ongoing. So for most things that are worthwhile in life, it's an infinite rather than a finite game. And the reason why we're not satisfied by finite games and we end up being disappointed is that we are unlimited in truth. So finite, limited goals can never truly satisfy because of that, that fundamental fact of your nature. If you're unlimited, how can a limited finite goal ever satisfy? So that's the lesson. Let me read that in the original and alternative.
Let me not see myself as limited. I am unlimited.
Yeah, I thought the translation is just more direct. It's like, let me not see myself as limited, sort of beats around the bush as well. It's like, actually, I am unlimited. Let me claim my unlimited nature and just bring that into, whatever situation is occurring. So the world is designed by the ego to be limited and limiting and to get you to focus on finite goals. You notice that the ego is always about the finite goal. So what are you going to achieve? When are you going to do it? It's time bound. There's a specific objective. And then the ego says, well, when you achieve that, then you're going to be a lot happier. So that's worth going for. Try and achieve that. But there's always disappointment with finite goals. Even if you achieve them, often people feel a sense of, well, it's a bit flat. It wasn't what I thought it was. And if you don't achieve them, then there's a lot of suffering. And you'll see that if you watch any of the rugby over the next couple of weeks. We've got World Cup semifinals. You're going to see that, the disappointment of finite games so clearly demonstrated. Because one side has to win, the other has to lose. So one team and one set of supporters are going to be elated until the next game, of course, and the others deeply disappointed. You're like, well, that's what happens with finite games. It's a win-lose equation. Whereas with infinite games, you can't really lose because if you're enjoying the process and you realize that life is a process, not a destination. It's a journey, not a destination. And your whole point is to learn and grow and enjoy the journey. Then you can't really lose, can you? Mm-hmm. So you find infinite games can be, they're not beyond dualistic games. They're not win-loss games. They transcend that. So they connected to spirit. Infinite. If we play infinite games here, then it connects us to the infinite eternal realm. that's beyond this world. If we play finite games, then we are really saying, well, I'm limiting myself. I am limited because I'm continuously playing limited games. Which is why, the traditional kind of ego-based goal setting. Well, I want to achieve this, and I assume that, when I do that and I achieve the, whatever, the job of my dreams or the partner of my dreams, or get more money, then I'll be happy. That's all very finite, isn't it? You've set up a finite game, and you've related your happiness to a finite game, which is not a clever thing to do, because happiness by nature is infinite and eternal. So it can never come from the finite. But the ego, being insane, insists that it should, and will get you to keep trying to find happiness in the finite game. So when you fully understand this, you'll stop setting and pursuing these finite goals, because you'll realize that you'll never have a true quality of life by living this way. So how am I to live then, you might ask? Well, by playing an infinite game instead. Well, what does that actually mean? In a nutshell, it means to live your life with your attention in the present moment rather than on goals you think will make you happy in future. So you're able to be happy and extend love through kindness to others now, rather than deferring your happiness to some future time that will, of course, never arrive, because it's only ever now, right? So the infinite game it's infinite, it's eternal, and it's very much about being present in the now. And the finite game is played in the past and the future. Based on past results, we want to achieve this. So, let's look forward. We project into the future. They even call them in business terms projections, financial projections. We project into the future, we anticipate, and then we live for the future rather than for the now. And that, can become very entrenched in our thinking. It's part of a whole system we call, business. Most people go, well, that's just how business is done. We look ahead, we do financial projections, but actually you're playing a finite game. The infinite game says, if you're playing it in business, would be like, well, what's our mission? What are our values? What's our mission? And our mission is to serve our customers. Our mission is to spread, to help them, to spread love in our own way. And that's what we dedicate ourselves to doing. And that's our infinite goal. That's ongoing. And then the finite stuff looks after itself. Yes, we also need to make a profit and be able to continue as an ongoing, a going concern. But that's secondary to the primary purpose of fulfilling your mission, which is to add value and really help people, providing whatever service you provide. So the companies that do really well are the ones that play the infinite games rather than finite games. And so if you want to listen to more on this subject, listen to Simon Sinek, and he gives examples. People gives an example of Apple versus Microsoft. So he was speaking at an Apple conference, and he said, the conversation was all about, what are we doing? How are we being better? How can we fulfill our mission? How can we add value to people? And then he went to the Microsoft conference and spoke, and their game is, well, how can we beat Apple? So finite versus an infinite game.
Yeah.
Very, very different focus. The one is trying to win against their rival. The other one's just trying to be the best company they can be and not really worry about the competition. And, it's no accident that Apple's doing better than Microsoft. And that has been for many years, because they have a different mindset driving the business forward. An infinite game versus a finite game. The infinite game will win every time because it's not limited by definition. It's infinite. It's much more powerful. Finite games are very limited. They win, lose, and often then you end up on the losing side. And there's no vision. With a finite game, it's very short term. I mean, I'll give you an example of finite game myopia. Again, from the business world. In 1975, I think it was, Kodak came up with digital photography. Yeah. And he went to the directors and stuff and said, hey, how about it? This is, why don't we start another division and start developing this? And they didn't go there. They said no, because that will hurt our film sales. So they were playing a finite game, weren't they? Because they were interested in film sales, rather than going, well, our mission is to bring photography to the masses as in a way that is going to, be as impactful and meaningful and really help people to enjoy visual imagery and photos. Then surely, digital photography is obviously an upgrade on film. It makes people's experience much easier, much better. So yes, we should do it because that's our mission. That's our value system. See, and so the film sales, well, yes, temporarily those will be hurt, but if this works, then we've got another revenue stream that will come on because we'll be in the digital game. We'll be the forerunners of that. So very limited myopic thinking, playing a finite game, and as a result, the company went under because the competition took them out. They didn't do it, so other people did, and they got left behind. Having been the dominant player in the photographic industry for decades, they lost it. And
they're very popular, Kodak.
Yeah, but now they're nowhere. I mean, I see sometimes they're in these towns, they've got Kodak agencies, I think that's all. I think Kodak, the general company, is gone. I think that's some kind of franchise or something.
Yeah, you don't.
So they've got these kind of shops, but they're not actually producing cameras or anything anymore. They've just got this franchise using the brand name. So and yet they were the dominant players.
Oh yeah.
For years they developed it, and that myopic thinking killed the company because they were playing a finite versus an infinite game. If they played an infinite game, they could be like huge. They could have gone, okay, well, we'll take the lead in the digital photography space, and be producing cameras and being at the forefront of it all. But they got left behind. So it matters. When you look at things like that, business people and stuff. Well, this is all a bit woo woo and it doesn't really matter. No, it makes a huge difference. That decision to play a finite versus an infinite game killed the company. I mean, that's pretty major. One decision, based on a thought system of finite versus infinite. And to play an infinite game, you need to know how to let go. That's the key. They could not let go of the past that was attached to their existing revenue stream from old technology, using the film technology rather than digital. So they couldn't let that go. That was why they couldn't play an infinite game. And they didn't obviously have a big enough vision or mission to say, well, look, actually our business is about more than making money from film sales. Our business is about adding value to people's lives through photography. That should really be the mission, shouldn't it? Okay, well, does this new idea this guy's proposed add value to people's lives through photography? Absolutely. Look at what it can do. Suddenly everything's digital. The photos are much easier to access. You can, at that point, they didn't have email and internet, but with a bit of thinking, you could go, okay, well, this could be, digital could definitely be the way to go. But you have to let go of your existing paradigm to get there, and they couldn't. Whereas Apple, well, interesting story, I'll tell you, and then we'll move on, because I'm aware of the time. But it's also sort of late 70s, Apple had invested in developing a graphical user interface, they call it. So basically an operating system for their computers. And they'd gone down a track, and then Steve Jobs was shown what was really the pilot for Windows. This kind of graphical user interface, that's quite easy and you can click around. And he saw the sort of pilots of that, and he said to his fellow executives in Apple, he said, "Look, we've got to do this." And they were like, "No, but we've already invested millions in this other way, and we're going to lose all that money, and it's going to kill the company." And he said, "Well, best we kill the company then, and it's not killed by our competition, because I can tell you that this will be taken up by someone else, and if we're not on board, someone else will do it, and they'll take us." So you see it. He's playing an infinite game. He's saying, actually, it's about producing a quality product that's really going to help our customers. And forget the past, just let go of that. It's a sunk cost. So they wrote off the several million they put in, and they went down the other track. And that graphical user interface was the essence the basis of the Apple Mac, which was their first huge success. That whole interface, and of course people loved it. They were like, "Oh, this is so easy to use," and they loved their apples, and that's what built the company, the Apple Mac, and the user interface that they developed. So there you have two different companies, two different mindsets. The one is the world's most valuable company now. The other one's nowhere. So there you go. That's the benefit of playing a finite versus an infinite game. So yeah, if you want more on that, listen to Simon Sinek. He's very eloquent on it, and he gives a lot more examples. But what he's really doing is he's teaching spiritual principles in business. He's a spiritual teacher in that domain, because an infinite game is you connecting with spiritual values, and he's just framed it in a way that business people and leaders and so on can understand and accept. So good on him. Yeah, the world needs more of him. He's like taken a space where a lot of speakers talk about the practicalities of business. Okay, well, the how-to. He talks about the why. And that's the most interesting question. Why are you doing it? Because that speaks to your value system, that speaks to your thought system. And as soon as you ask why, you're in the domain of the spiritual.
I'll listen to
it. So yeah, listen to that. It's good stuff. You'll resonate, and you'll see how the course principles come through in this case, a business context he's talking about. So that's why I've included it, because you can see that these principles are universal. It's just framed in a slightly different way. He talks about a finite versus an infinite game, not spirit and eternity awakening, but it's really coming from the same essence. It's just now expressed in different language.
Which is more understandable
language with a different audience.
Yeah.
And his genius, because he speaks brilliantly, has been to go, okay, I'm gonna communicate this essence that transcends. Transcendent. There's a deep spiritual underpinning, but I'll do it in a way that is acceptable to this audience. So he can talk to audiences of business managers and CEOs and leaders and so on, and they'll listen to him and get his message across, which is brilliant. So
I'd like to get the message across to like the ladies at Cat Welfare, because they're all gloom and doom at the moment. So, but my talk of the course is not the correct language for them. So I'll zoom in on
finite. Talk about a finite versus an infinite game.
I'll do that.
Okay. Go listen to Simon Sinek. What are we playing? Are we playing a finite game? Are we playing an infinite game? What is our mission? That's what you've got to focus on. What's the mission and the values of this organization? And if we focus on that and on delivering, on living that, then you're playing an infinite game. And accordingly, things tend to work out. They work better because you're in alignment with the spirit, and you're expressing and extending love in and through then that fulfilling that mission of that organization. That's really what it comes down to. And you don't have to say that, because people might, that's a bit woo. But okay, we're talking in organizations. What is our mission? What are our values? That's common organizational speak. We need to clarify that, and we need to live that, and all be on board on the same mission. So maybe you do a workshop with them, and I could certainly help if you need help. Where you workshop and you say, okay, so let's clarify what does this organization stand for? What is our mission? What is our vision? Maybe we're not clear on that. Maybe we've kind of lost focus. Maybe we're playing a finite game rather than an infinite game. And if they understand that, they go, oh, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. And okay, well, Simon Sinek is a world-renowned speaker. He's speaking to the likes of Apple and Microsoft and the biggest corporates on the planet. Maybe there's something to be learned, from him. And then it's just another way of communicating, this teaching. You don't have to do it to A Course in Miracles, but the principles are the same. It's just now being framed in a way that maybe they can.
That's what it needs for the cat welfare, even for the cats of Tenerife. If they could get their act together, then we would get more. And donations.
You be the change in that organization. Say, look, we need to do a workshop where we forget about operational issues for a while. We actually talk about why do we do this? What are our values? What's our mission? And maybe that just needs clarification. And this kind of stuff is very pertinent then to organizational dynamics. So try and orchestrate that, and I could give them a quick talk. I could say, okay, I'll come in for half an hour and do a talk.
It's a charity. It's a charity, but we need money to help the cats in the island. So it's just too negative at the moment.
Money will come. The money will come from your purpose. That's what most people don't realize. Like when you stay on purpose and you align with spirit and your purpose is in integrity to that, then you're helped. Then the miraculous power we know works for you. And most people don't understand that, so they're just like, well, we haven't got the money, so we can't do it. No, stay on purpose, and then it will come. And I can speak from personal experience because I've been at this for 5 years, and there are many times like I'm not sure how I'm going to keep this going because I just don't know where the money's going to come from. But somehow you find a way, and now, I'm confident like a lot of money is going to be coming, so that this can grow into a community that could help thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people around the world. But I've had to stay on point. It's like, what is the purpose of this?
Yeah,
it's not about the money, very clearly, because I've made none. But there's a bigger purpose, and then somehow things work, and the money comes, and what you need on the level of form is given, because you're in alignment with spirit. Yeah, so I'll gladly volunteer. It's a charity. I'll give an hour of my time.
And you're talking ladies in their 60s, and some of them, like the actual boss. I mean, she's done amazing work, but she's so set in her ways. Oh my goodness! And,
maybe show them some of these videos, Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
To kind of seed the ground, and then say, look, I can get someone to actually, come in for an hour and do a Zoom call and talk about this stuff.
Oh, I think some of them would be all for it. Yeah, and even Sally. I mean, I know she loves her soaps and all the rest of it, but I can see her spirit. It's just getting the right lingo across. Because the other day when we were talking about death, I was coming from the course's point of view, and I don't think she understood what I was saying. It did sound a bit woo-woo. So that's where I've got to educate myself a bit more to put it.
Well, you listen to Simon Sinek, it's not woo-woo. He's talking about practical business, and he's using a language that makes sense. And he's very successful. So his message is obviously needed in the business world. There's companies that pay him a lot of money to go and speak and consult and so on.
Very logical.
Because what they're missing is what he's offering. They are missing the why. The how-to. Okay, there's how-to. There's many books. There's many methodologies. You can go and study. But the why now speaks to a bigger purpose. And if you're involved in if you believe in the scientific materialist paradigm, being trained in that way, then your why is going to be lacking. You're going to be playing a finite game. Your why will be finite, not infinite. And it needs someone like him to come along and say, hang on, guys, you've got to look at it again. Think about this differently. Maybe, your whole thought system around business is incorrect. That's what he's saying. You're thinking incorrectly about the whole game. You need to frame the game differently. Play an infinite game rather. So it's very much transcendent. It's like, okay, change the whole game. Is exactly what we're doing with the course. We're just doing it, not specifically in a business context.
It comes across a bit religious, doesn't it? The course, the language.
Yeah, it is. But it's great. It's great training for business. I mean, I'm very grateful I've been through it because there's no doubt that what I'm doing in business has definitely, benefited hugely from my understanding of the course and these principles. So, it's if you can get around the language, which again, maybe the translation is key. And next year I want to start a community where yes, this could be accessible to people in business, people, entrepreneurs, business people who need this kind of inspiration, but not necessarily open to all of the religious language. So, okay, how do you frame it then for them in a way? It's like, yeah, that makes sense. I get it. And I can learn from that. And then, it's pointing to these deeper teachings. So if they want, there's the Art of Letting Go program, which they can go into, and there, the full picture is going to be revealed if they want it. But a lot of people probably won't. They just feel like, well, this is actually okay for me, and it's working, and I'm benefiting. And then, I can build a much larger community of people that feeds in, and you'll get 10% of those eventually ending up in the Art of Letting Go. So, yeah, actually, these principles you're pointing to, yeah, I'm really interested. I want to go deeper. Okay, well, there you go. There's a whole program for you. You can. So that's the plan for next year.
Yeah, so it would be very interesting to get, like, the charity that I'm talking about. Okay, it's a small fry compared to what you're talking about, but it's those, even charities, they do need that mindset, this new mindset, the infinite rather than the finite.
Yeah.
Because too many are in
it's hugely needed.
Yeah.
It's hugely needed in the world, because most organizations are still finite. They work on finite, they play finite games rather than infinite games, which is why Simon Sinek's been so successful. He's like, well, I'm actually ashamed that I have a career, because this stuff should just be like everyone knows it and gets it. Yes, of course we play an infinite game. Of course we live according to a higher set of values, of course, but that's not the case for maybe 90 to 95% of organizations. They play a finite game, just like they play finite games in their lives. It's just a mirror of the whole society we live in. The scientific materialist paradigm, very much attached to, form, outcomes, and so on. Well, that just gets carried then into business. And it's just business according to those same egoic rules, which doesn't work. Doesn't work very well.
Well, that's why these charities could be a lot better, but it's too finite at the moment. Yeah. So,
well, so I'm happy to help. Obviously, it comes down in the end. The reason why there's such resistance to this is that people don't want to let go of their own egos. So they attach to their ego, they attach to playing finite games, and so they resist this. They go, no, I don't want that. So they block it out because their ego feels challenged. As soon as you start talking this kind of language, the ego is going to be challenged, and so then they block it out. That's why this stuff isn't common, even though it makes complete sense. And there's a lot of evidence to support the fact that an infinite game will outperform a finite game, all the time.
Definitely, yeah.
It's still not the default. Why? Because the ego resists and finds the excuses. There's no, we don't want to do this because
I've seen it
because of that.
Yeah, I did see it in action because Cat Welfare were doing extremely well and they were in that infinite, but then all of a sudden it started into finite and it just went downhill, and people stopped donating and they weren't getting any. Yeah, it all stopped because the finite took over. Yeah, because
they started to become too. Yeah, it was more about, okay, how much money can we raise? What are our targets?
And all the donations.
And then you lose the essence of the whole organization. Your purpose is to help cats. That's the point.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's exactly what happened there. It started off wonderful and they were getting inheritance, donations and regular funding. And it all stopped when it started turning finite. Yeah.
Because you've seen it, because they started getting now the money's coming, and then it becomes like, oh, well, how much more can we make? And then they start setting profit targets.
Yeah, there were misuse of funds. It was just then getting very finite. Yeah.
And then you lose your mojo. You lose the essence of the organization. The purpose has now been corrupted. And then, of course, spiritually, that's going to affect what happens. You can't not. Because it's all mind. So you then putting something else into the quantum field, and then you get accordingly, you get results back, which mirrors. So you start losing your purpose and listening to the ego. Well, then you're going to get results that show that display that.
It was very sad to watch, actually. More for the cats, actually. And watching the people.
Well, it's a lesson for those involved. It's like, well, okay, there's always a spiritual lesson. You listen to the ego, this is what happens. It doesn't work so well. Listen to the Holy Spirit, it flourishes and thrives. And that's the difference between abundance and poverty. It's like it thrives when you're in the Spirit, and you have a true purpose, and you stick to that. But it requires some discipline. You've got to be mentally clear and disciplined. Like, okay, why are we doing this? And too often people they don't have that clarity in their minds as to, well, what is my real purpose in this world? And so then, the false purposes of the ego come into the organization.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I can help if I'm happy to give an hour of my time.
Great, because it was very sad watching it all just go downhill, because of the finite games people were playing. Yeah.
Well, it's just a lesson. It's a lesson for those involved, and it could be corrected. There's no order difficult in miracles. It can be corrected with a change of mind.
Yeah.
On a collective level. So, and that's just there's a few people in the organization to then change their mind.
Yeah.
And it'll change. So, if I can help with that, I will. All right, so that leads us into our lesson today, which is lesson 250 we're on to. So let me just start the recording. Okay, so you can read. I think I'll just skip the intro. What is the world? You can read lesson 250, and we'll go into. Well, we could actually do. Probably got time to do the intro if you want. Got about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. We can do the intro and then the lesson and then a meditation. Want to do that?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is the last time we'll read What is the World? So what is the world?
I'll just do the alternative. I only just did this last night, but actually, of course, another reminder.
No, we're supposed to do it every day. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in the alternative.
The alternative. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. The world is a false perception. It is born of error, and it has not left its source. It will remain no longer than I cherish the thought that gave it birth. When the thought of separation has been changed to one of true letting go, I will perceive the world in quite another awareness, one which leads to truth, where the whole world disappears and all its errors vanish. Now its source is gone, and so its effects are gone as well.
Okay, so thoughts on that?
Well, the world as we see it will disappear if we get rid of these false perceptions and let the true, letting go of our false perceptions. And perceive the world correctly in its truth, the truth. Lead to the truth.
And the whole world, I mean, what he's pointing to is like the whole world disappears. Okay, so it's the end of this false reality. It's not an insignificant currents he's talking about. The whole world disappears, all its errors vanish. Because now its source is gone. The source, which is in the mind, the idea of separation, tiny mad idea of separation. Once that's gone from our mind, how can its effects continue? So pointing us back to the very source, the root cause of the whole problem is the tiny mad idea of separation. And they're saying, well, you can let it go and you can be free of the entire world, which is ultimate liberation. Just depart the world entirely stay in heaven, or the state of pure formless awareness. Okay, so next one, the world is made as an attack on God, or pure formless awareness, or perfect love.
Yeah, the world was made as an attack on pure formless awareness of perfect love. It symbolizes fear. And what is fear except love's absence? So the world was meant to be a place where pure formless awareness of perfect love could not enter, and where its extension could be apart from it. Here was perception born, for knowledge could not cause such insane thoughts. But eyes deceive and ears hear falsely. Now mistakes become quite possible, for certainty has gone.
So what's he saying there?
Well, the world is just a false place where it symbolizes fear, and love is absent. So it's sort of well, we've got all our senses which are deceiving us falsely, our eyes, ears, and touch, I guess, as well. All our senses. So it's just an attack against pure formless awareness, the whole world.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing. I mean, he says this. I mean, the first time you read this, you go, what? The world is made as an attack on God. It's quite shocking, really. Difficult to remember back, the first time I read this, but like, whoa, what is he saying? So the world is not what I thought it was. It was made as an attack on this pure formless awareness of perfect love. Symbolizes fear. What is fear except love's absence? The world's meant to be a place where actually love was excluded. But the penny starts to drop a bit, doesn't it? You start to go, okay, I kind of get it. Because there is so much pain and suffering and sickness and death.
Too much.
So, okay, that makes sense then. The world was actually made as a denial of love. It was made out of the thought system that denies love, which is why all this stuff goes on. Well, what could you expect from a world based on the denial of love? But this is the logical outcome of the thought system that has no love. And then suddenly it starts to make sense. You go, okay, I get it. That's why the world is a mess. That's why it's always been a mess, and it always will be a mess. This is based on a thought system that is opposite of love. Or what could you expect but a dysfunctional reality from a thought system that is false? And once that penny starts to drop, that's part of the awakening. And you start to really awaken. Okay, I get it. I'm starting to understand now, what's really happening here, how it all works. And you go beyond perception, and what the senses tell you, to knowledge, which is your own knowledge, your own awareness of this pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's knowledge. Okay, so you go beyond mistakes, which are caused by perception, and perception projection creates all these mistakes and falsity. Knowledge just transcends that. It lies above in this realm of spirit. So if we want to demonstrate that, timeline of consciousness. Knowledge sits above the timeline in another domain. So you go above all the dramas of this world and the ego's perception of them, and you rise above it into the knowledge of this, which is really the pure experience of this awareness, pure experience of pure formless awareness of perfect love, is knowledge that transcends the dream. Nothing in knowledge can affect you. Okay, so does that make sense?
It does.
All right, so number 3.
The mechanisms of illusion have been born instead. And now they try to find what has been given them to seek. Their aim is to fulfill the purpose which the world was made to witness and make real. They perceive in its illusions a solid foundation where truth, upheld apart from lies, exists. Yet everything that they report is merely illusion that is kept apart from truth.
Mm-hmm. What's it saying in that one?
Well, everything that the separate self, well, or everything that comes from the separate self is just merely an illusion, and it's just there to keep us apart from the actual truth.
Yeah, the world was designed to trick us. It's a deception. It's a matrix. It's Maya. It's designed to trick us into believing that it's really there, that we are really here as separate selves, that our separate identity is real, and all of its illusions are perceived then as solid, part of this thought system of separation. So it goes, runs very deep. The matrix is everywhere, as Morpheus said to me. The matrix is everywhere, and it's been designed to pull the wool over your eyes, to turn you into a battery. So your psychic energy is just feeding the matrix, and there's no true awareness left. You're just a slave in this simulated reality, which is why it doesn't feel good. That's why. How can you be happy as a slave in a simulation of reality when your true nature is limitless and beyond that reality? How can you ever find happiness there? Can't. It's not possible. So you have to leave in order to find your freedom. You leave that reality. Okay, does that make sense?
It does.
So number 4 then, sight was made to lead away from truth.
As sight was made to lead away from truth, it can be redirected. Sounds become the call of perfect love, and all perception can be given a new purpose by the presence of pure formless awareness, a perfect love appointed as awakener to the world. So I choose to follow its guidance and perceive the world as it perceives it. I choose to hear its voice alone in all that it speaks to me, and I let it give me peace and certainty, which I have thrown away. But the state of pure formless awareness has preserved for me in itself. So, well, the sight's been led to take us away from the truth, but now sight is going to be there to lead us to the presence of pure formless awareness, and sounds are the call for perfect love. So this is all to be redirected from the Holy Spirit, I guess, because it can't come from the ego, the sight, and all our senses. And it will lead us to peace and certainty, which we had thrown away. But now, if we redirect to the state of pure formless awareness, then that's where our strength and true self is.
Yeah, well said. A very simple teaching, very simple message, but one just has to follow it or not. Well, listen to the guidance or don't. It's there for us if we want it. Follow these principles, follow its guidance, perceive the world as it perceives it. So it's all about how you perceive it. That's why 90% of this course is directed towards changing your perception. And this will bring you peace, which you've thrown away, but is still there available for you. It's a potential in the state of pure formless awareness. It's just potential until you activate, you actualize it by accepting it back, accepting this awareness back into your mind. And you'll experience that it's actually always already there. Okay. Any other thoughts on number 4? Otherwise, let's go to number 5.
That's good. Let me not rest content until the world has joined my changed perception. Let me not be satisfied until everyone has fully let go of their belief in separation. And let me not attempt to change my function. I must free the world, for I who made it must perceive it through the eyes of my true self, so that what was made to die can be restored to eternal life. So let us not be satisfied. Yeah. Well, let us not be satisfied until everyone has fully let go of their belief in separation. That could take billions of years, of course, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could, but your mission as now, you join Yeshua in the at-one-ment would transcend just this life. Once you've let go of the body, and if you never come back, you would be one with the Christ mind, one with Him, and then that mind's only purpose is to awaken the entire mind to its awareness. So Yeshua has this teaching function in order to awaken these minds that are asleep. And so you join in that great crusade, as he calls it, in that one-man plan, which every authentic spiritual teacher and master has joined. That great crusade to awaken humanity. You become part of that, and it's all the same awareness. It's you're not really a separate self anymore. It's just the one awareness of God streaming through you into the world. While you're here, your purpose is, you can actually be an agent for this in the world.
Yeah.
Which is what you should do while you're here. Until you depart your body. Well, you may as well use your body and the ability to interact in this world in a constructive way, guided by the Holy Spirit, to help yourself and others to awaken, as was demonstrated by people like Yeshua, the Buddha, Francis, our just recently departed companion. She dedicated her life to this purpose. And that's what we're called to do. And she was teaching it and running around the world. Not everyone's going to do that, but dedicate your life to the study and the practice of this. Anyone can do that, even if you continue to work a normal job or something and have a so-called normal life, as Ken Wapnick would call it. You can dedicate your mind to this purpose single-mindedly, and that's what he's asking us to do. Ultimately, he knows we're not going to do it straight away, but he's leading us into it with his mind training, saying, I'm asking you for more and more commitment. So ultimately, you will.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's happy with that. Let's go into our lesson then, shall we? So I'm just going to On a new recording. Yeah, so this one is lesson 250. We're on to. You can read that in the original and the alternative.
Let me not see myself as limited. I am unlimited.
Yeah, and I think that that simple statement is much more powerful, isn't it? And let me not see myself as limited. I am unlimited.
Yes.
Just that's probably what worked for you. You say, I am unlimited. It just cuts through all of the ego's bullshit.
Yeah, it's very straight to the point, yeah.
I am unlimited, and if I can access that unlimited state through the words just point me into an expanded state where I'm unlimited. All of the thoughts of limitation, all of those little fears and anxieties and whatever, those little thoughts that plague us, just, okay, I'm unlimited, just cuts through them all. Says, no, clear the way. But like the Gordian knot, told you that story of Alexander the Great, so there was a prophecy that whoever could untie the Gordian knot would conquer the world or something. And so he arrives there and he's like, oh, this is very complicated. He has a look at it. He just takes his sword and goes, slash through it. Just cut through, just cut through the whole thing.
All the
BS of the ego and say, I am unlimited. So all of these thoughts and these concerns and the thoughts and the emotions and all of that complexity that makes up this egoic thought system, I am unlimited. I am love will do the same thing. I am perfect love does the same kind of thing. These I am statements are very powerful. All right, so go to number 1 paragraph. You read it in the original and the alternative. It's very short. So.
Yep. Let me behold the Son of God today and witness to his glory. Let me look at the extension of perfect love today and witness to its magnificence. Let me not try to obscure the holy light in him and see his strength diminished and reduced to frailty. Let me not try to obscure the pure formless awareness in anyone and perceive their strength diminished and reduced to frailty, nor perceive the lacks in them with which I would be attacking their true identity. I didn't finish.
I think let's change lacks to limitations. So we'll perceive the limitations in them, because that's what he means. Yeah. So whenever you look at someone and you look at their faults and you see them as limited, you're limiting yourself, because you're believing in the thought system of limitation. Even if they're displaying that, this is where the mind training comes, because they can be well in their ego and displaying all the characteristics of the ego, and you go, oh, it's just so limited, and then you judge it as real, and maybe you condemn them. Or what you've done is you've made all those limitations real, which is exactly what the ego wants you to do, because it makes its thought system real in your mind, and then you must be limited as well, because you're perceiving all this limitation. And so it's very cleverly, by convincing you that the problem is actually outside of you, has just reinforced the problem in your own mind. Okay, well, you're perceiving other people's limitations and the limitations in the world and so on, then you perceive your own. That's how it works. So, let go of those lacks, those limitations that you perceive. And then pure formless awareness of perfect love, the Holy Spirit, the remembrance of perfect love, is now in charge of your perception, and the limitations are not present. Even if they are still seemingly there on the level of form, you don't acknowledge them. You just ignore them.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any other thoughts on paragraph 1?
That's clear. That's good.
All right. So number 2 then.
line by line. He is your son, my Father. I am your extension, my source. And today I would behold his gentleness instead of my illusions. And today I choose to perceive my true self's gentleness instead of my illusions. He is what I am, and as I see him, so I see myself. They are what I am, and as I perceive them, so I perceive myself. Today,
everyone is what I am.
Oh, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone is what I am, and as I perceive them, so I perceive myself. Today, I would see truly that this day I may at last identify with him. Today, I choose to perceive truly so that this day I may at last identify with my unlimited self.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thoughts on that?
Just to let us know that we are all one and that we're all part of the source. So we're continuing to delude ourselves in this separate self. And today we can choose to be with our true self in gentleness, and instead of all our illusions, we are all one, we are part of.
Yeah, and as I perceive them, and again, this theme comes through over and over again. As I perceive others, so I perceive myself. I can't perceive my own true self's gentleness unless I extend that to other people. If I'm being harsh and condemnatory on others, then how can I then go on the other hand, say, oh, well, I'm perceiving the gentleness and the love. Like, you're not. You're perceiving with harshness and judgment and condemnation.
Yeah.
And and it's so interesting how that opens things up. I mean, this again, I'm talking about this business deal I'm doing, because I've really worked hard on not judging this guy. I mean, he's just difficult to deal with. He doesn't do what he says he's going to do, and he's like, no, I'll come back to you, and then he doesn't. But actually, I've gone, okay, I'm going to lay judgment aside. I'm not going to write him off. I'm just going to go with it. It's actually now coming. I think we're gonna do a deal, and moreover, he wants us to raise money for him, and he might be able to come in and fund another transaction as well. And that all comes because I haven't gone, okay, the guy's a waste of time. He's a write-off, and I'll condemn him as useless. And so you see, spiritually how this stuff, has a huge impact on practical matters, like, okay, these business deals and stuff, because it all comes down, and then everything comes down to relationships. Whether it's a personal relationship with your friends and family, or business relationships. The success or failure of anything is determined by the quality of those relationships.
Yeah.
And that's as true in business as anywhere else. So, if we're on good terms and the guy doesn't feel judged, no one wants to feel judged and condemned, do they? No one.
No. Yeah.
So, okay, you're not being judged and condemned. It's like, it's okay. I'm understanding. It's like, all right, well, if you're sending me something 3 days, after you promised it, I'm like, all right, I'm just kind of still talking to you and not condemning you, because for whatever reason you struggle to get the simple document out for 3 days. I don't know what's going on in your life. I think maybe he's dyslexic or something. I get the sense like he's not really that. He's like, no, well, I need to get, my partner to help me. I'm like, well, it's a simple document. Why couldn't you just sit down? Oh, well, I've left my laptop. Okay, well, maybe he has. He's got a laptop, and he doesn't have a laptop. He's only got a phone.
It's manana here. It's like Spain. They're the same. Everything takes much
I think he's
longer.
like, okay, it's a bit chaotic, and it's like all kinds of stuff And it's like,
Yeah.
well, you can judge that and condemn that and go, well, that's totally unacceptable. I can't work with that. And you go, okay, well, that's where he's at. So I just won't judge or condemn. You know, he's just doing what he does. That's the way he operates.
Yes.
And if I don't condemn him, maybe we can find a way to work together. And I just got to be a bit patient, you know. So, right,
Yes,
well,
mañana.
it's not going to happen on my time. It's going to happen in mañana time. What do you call it? Mañana.
Mañana. You have to, when you
What
come
does
to
that mean?
Spain,
Whenever.
it
Does
just means
mañana mean
tomorrow.
whenever?
Tomorrow. Yeah, whenever. Tomorrow. Yeah.
Does the word actually mean tomorrow?
It does, yes, but it
Tomorrow.
basically means that whatever, when you arrive, that's the only, otherwise, that's why so many British people leave, because they're used to prompt. Doesn't work like that. Yeah, it's mañana. Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Whenever.
Yeah. You just get.
So there's a bit of that going on. It's like, okay, well, mañana, and you know, that's how Africa works actually, largely.
Same Spain. Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's not on precise time. I mean, we're dealing sometimes.
No.
They're like, send us the procedures. It's like, well, because we can't yet, because we're trying to work it all out. You know, it takes some time to work it out. It's not on German time. It's African time. Anyway, so this stuff's very, very, very pertinent to every aspect of life. And I've found it the best business training. I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing in business without this as a background training. It's definitely prepared me, helps me ongoing. So like, okay, now I'm dealing with this. You can get really uptight and upset, or you can just go, okay, just let it go. Let it go. Let go of that thought. Let go of the feeling. Let it go, and just create some space. Open yourself allow this to kind of unfold naturally rather than trying to force it, which is, I think, the mistake a lot of people make.
Yeah, true.
And obviously, at the same time, you don't. There's many people who just bullshit and are scammers. So you've got to kind of. There's discernment, isn't it? Okay, so is this genuine or not? There has to be a discernment in it. Yeah. But I think he is genuine. He showed me pictures of, he's got a whole bunch of trucks lined up with his company brand name on. Okay, well, you don't have that unless there's something significant. Actually got material assets. So, I think it's genuine. I just think he works. It's a bit chaotic. He doesn't work.
Just be like the Spanish,
a bit like that, and there's who knows why, but then maybe there's an opportunity for us, my partner, to come in and help him. Go, okay, well, we can do a lot of the stuff that you're not necessarily good at. Writing investment proposals, raising funding, it all takes documents. You got to be quite document oriented. Well, he's terrible at that. So
not his thing.
Yeah. No, not his thing. But he's running around, driving around to various places, having meetings. Yeah. All right. So shall we do a meditation for 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Start the session on the lesson. So
want
to make yourself comfortable. It's just on the recording. Okay, so just making yourself comfortable. Into your favorite meditation posture, feet shoulder width apart, your back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and start off with a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And you clench the sphincter muscle, you lock the energy in. Just draw the energy up the spine to your heart center, on up into the crown of your head. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. So it's a maximal inhale breath. And scan your mind, so noticing any thoughts going on, particularly anything that's limiting. So any fear thoughts, anxiety, related to any situations in your life. Maybe it's just a general gnawing anxiety. Breathe into that. Invite this unlimited presence of perfect love in. Remind yourself that I'm not limited. Let me not see myself as limited in this situation. I am unlimited. I am unlimited. And breathe in that unlimited state. To every pore, every cell, every muscle, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in this unlimited state of mind. Look at all those limitations, notice how they feel, or it wouldn't feel good, so notice any stress or tension you're carrying in your body. Just breathe into that. Imagine if it helps you that you're breathing in light, beautiful golden or white light. It just comes in and transmutes. Awakens your mind to the truth of your unlimited nature, and listen to these words. So let me look at the Son of God, or the extension of perfect love today, and witness to its magnificence. I will not try, say this in your mind, I will not try to obscure pure formless awareness in anyone and perceive their strength diminished and reduced to frailty, nor perceive the limitations in them with which I would then be attacking their true identity. So if there's any of that judgment of others, condemnation of others, seeing the limitations in others, just exhale and blow them out. The breeze of your breath into the nothingness that they really are. Pull the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And just resting in quiet and stillness. So you say this prayer, breathing in again. Repeat after me. So I'll say the words and then just repeat them when I pause and exhale. And do that. So breathe in this perfect love. Say, I am your extension, my source. I'm an extension of perfect love today. Breathe that into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. Within the extension of perfect love. And today I choose to perceive my true self's gentleness instead of my illusions. So you choose to perceive the gentleness, kindness of your true self that really is kind and loving to yourself and others instead of my illusions. So your opinions, your misperceptions, your judgments, those are your illusions. So let them go as you exhale out through the mouth. Imagine you blowing them away like black smoke, dark clouds. just leaving you. It's going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just rest here. In this peace and stillness. For a few moments. Rest in peace. Everyone is what I am. And as I perceive them, so I perceive myself. Repeat those words. Everyone is the same as I am, what I am. As I perceive them, so I perceive myself. Breathing in again. So today I choose to perceive truly. So this day, I may at last identify with my unlimited self. Your true self or Christ or Buddha nature. So breathe that in, the essence of this loving awareness, the self into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. In the light of your true awareness, and breathe that in to every pore, every cell, every muscle, and just allow this true awareness, this loving awareness to permeate through your mind, your body, your whole being. It's rooted in this awareness. Exhale, blow out any resistance to this awareness and just rest the bottom of the exhale in this deep, connected peace and stillness for a few moments. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just use the key lesson in alternative form. I am unlimited. Say that to yourself a couple of times out loud. I am unlimited. Put your hand on your heart. Breathe in as you do that and just connect with the unlimited self, the unlimited nature that you really are. Feel into that. Let that envelop you. I am unlimited. Just observe the breath and sink deeper with each breath into this unlimited self that you truly are. Any thoughts come in, to block that, any limitations, remind yourself that I am unlimited. I am unlimited, and you blow them out. The breeze of your breath to the nothingness they really are. Just going, gone. To the nothingness they really are. And just rest here in this deep peace and stillness for stillness of the unlimited self that you really are for a couple of minutes of deep silence to close out the meditation. And gently coming back from this deep connected state to an awareness of the body, the breath, and the senses in the world. And on the count of 3, you open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in. Noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. Scan your mind. Noticing any thoughts, any emotions, related body sensations going on. Particularly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricted. And just remind yourself that you're not limited. Let me not see myself as limited. I am unlimited. And when we exhale, and just blow it all out with the breeze of your breath, letting it all go to the nothingness that it really is. And pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel all the air out. Rest here in this gap between breaths for a few moments. Pause. Count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling and touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, a smell in your nose. Notice that. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state of mind, a state of mind without illusions. Only the truth is true. And you just connect with that. Set the intention to stay here for the rest of the afternoon and evening. Say to yourself, I am unlimited. You can repeat that aloud as you exhale. I am unlimited. I am unlimited. And so it is. And so now on the count of 3, open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around, so observing the various objects in the room around you. From this very clear, calm, unlimited state of mind. Just awareness, pure awareness. And notice that in this unlimited state, everything is peaceful, everything's calm, and there's a lack of limitation in your perception. Notice that that's the case for any of the objects in the room around you. It's the same for anything. Notice that, and just set the intention to stay in this unlimited state. You can use today's lesson to help you to do that frequently. So just remind yourself if any fear thoughts, any limitations come in, that I am unlimited. And blow them away with your breath. You can use the breath break that I've sent you to help you to practice that, or just bring the thought to mind. It only takes a few moments to breathe in, remind yourself of the idea, I'm unlimited, and then as you exhale out, let go of those negative thoughts and feelings. So that should keep you topped up and in your unlimited self, which is what I wish for you for the rest of the evening and the weekend ahead. So that brings us to the end of the meditation and of the session. So I will see you again on Sunday.
Yep, that's great. Have a great weekend.
Sunday evening. You too.
Sunday evening. Yeah. Namaste.
Thanks, Elaine. Namaste.
Bye. Bye.
Okay. Bye for now. So that's a wrap. Thank you to everyone who joined, Elaine, for making the session possible. And if you're not a member of the Art Split and Go Club, join us for the masterclass on Sunday. There's a link below that will allow you to subscribe to that. And you can find out more about the program and how this can help you completely change your mind and your life. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that. And finally, you can sign up to receive some of the material that I showed you up front in the email via Telegram every day. So hope to catch you on the inside soon and have a lovely weekend. Namaste, which means the unlimited self in me acknowledges and honors that same unlimited self in you.